Shalom, shalom, and Chodesh Tov. Today is Rosh Chodesh Tamuz. And I'd like to do something a little unconventional today that I don't normally do, but I think it's extremely worthwhile. So I want to read to you a post written yesterday by somebody named Shira Sheps that went viral. It was after the ceasefire, and she wrote about how she felt. And I think it really resonated and vibed with so many Israelis, and it went viral and everybody shared it. And I want to read it to you and explain to you what I thought, how I felt, and really tie it into this new month of Tamuz. So here goes. Bear with me, it's definitely worthwhile. This morning I woke up and wanted to scream, like a deep primal cry that would bring forth all the tears I didn't shed the last 12 days, 12 months, 2 years, I don't know. I've been so calm, so reliable, but last night I woke up multiple times, my body accustomed to waking up suddenly and running. By 5 a.m. sleep was finished for me. The second I opened my phone, I saw their faces. The 4 beautiful souls that were murdered yesterday morning in Beersheba. An 18-year-old couple, his mother, a grandmother. Another 7 soldiers killed in Gaza, young men, barely 20 years old. Mamdani winning the primary in New York City, and I absolutely lost it. Someone asked me today, wow, you Israelis must be so relieved about the ceasefire. Do you know how I feel? Enraged, unsafe, unsure. We were told to go back to real life today, as if none of this had happened. School, work, real life. Just picking up where we left off, as if we haven't just lived through 12 days of trauma. Listen, we all want to go back to real life, to sleep through the night and go about our lives feeling safe and well. No more death, no more drama. I went into Jerusalem today, and the city feels hungover, slightly empty, friction still thick in the air. Everyone, Jews and Arabs, tourists looking shell-shocked, dazed. It all ended as suddenly as it began. I decided I needed to take care of myself, so I went to the regular acupuncture appointment. I didn't realize the tension that was living in my body. I really struggled to relax. Only when I got quiet did I realize how many thoughts were rushing through my head, how tightly I was holding myself, and how I've been clenching my jaw. My throat is sore, my head hurts, and my body aches. My soul is aching because the war isn't over. We're in the middle of a war when all this started, and somehow we're in the exact same spot. Soldiers are still dying in Gaza, hostages still not home. How are the hostages not a central part of the ceasefire deal? That's not even mentioning that we're all getting too many mixed messages about the success of the war. Where is the uranium? Is the nuclear program actually destroyed, or has it been set back months or years? Will we have to do this all over again? What happens to the Iranian people now, the hostages? It feels like we're in a car going 120 miles per hour and then just stopped short. And now we're suspended in the air, flying, waiting to see where we land. We've had 11 deaths here in Israel the last 24 hours. No, I'm not relieved. I'm outraged, I'm frustrated, I'm exhausted, I'm holding my breath while we watch these leaders proclaim victory and success. Life has gone back to normal, in quotes. When was the last time it was normal? Is war and anti-Semitism normal? Home from Command tells us we're safe now, and I just want to laugh. Okay, so that's it, and it's obvious why it really resonates. She says it exactly as it is, and exactly how we feel. When the ceasefire was declared, I actually turned to my husband and said, I don't understand, like, what, we're just supposed to go back to normal? And he just kind of shrugged his shoulders and, didn't really have much to offer me in terms of words. And I didn't understand, I couldn't process really how I was feeling. And then when she said this, it really expressed everything that I was feeling. And I think we're all feeling this, and I think it's really hard because we haven't had time to process. You don't have time to process and grieve because this is like an ongoing thing. And there is so much, and war and sadness and death, it's a lot. It's really, really a lot to handle, period, full stop. But what I do want to say is that for us, the Jewish nation, this is not something new. We've been through horrors before in history, but I feel really, really hopeful. And the reason why I feel hopeful is because I believe we're at the end of the journey. This is something that I think is really biblical, like the Jews in the desert. You have to think about them and the journey that they were on, okay? They were enslaved for hundreds of years in Egypt. They went through a lot. And you see their journey in the desert, and they're really on the last leg. And things keep happening. Good people still die. We see the sons of Aaron died. There were plagues because people were, doing things and complaining. And the problem really was, I think, is a lack of the vision for us to be able to see the fact that God is with us and that there is an end game, and the end game can be really, really close if we don't get caught up in panic, in depression, in all these things that are so easy with everything we're going through. It's so easy to fall in that way. But is it worth it? That's the question. Is it worth it? Because if we fall prey, right? And I'm saying her post is so important, and it's needed in the way that we have to understand that we're human beings and we need to process and we need to discuss it and let it out and mourn in a proper way. And this is so necessary because you can't move on until you properly process things and heal. And our nation really, really needs that because we suffered so much pain. And so we do need to process and we do need to heal. But what I worry about and what concerns me is that we should not fall into a trap of crying all night, like the Jews in the desert, right? When in the sin of the spies, or when Moshe didn't come down on time, and panic. And because that we're so full of emotion of so much that we've experienced, and all legit things, that we do something that we pay a bigger price for later on. That's my concern. So I think that this month of Tamuz, okay, that we're told that this month of Tamuz is connected very much with vision and with how we perceive things. Because if you look at, this is understood also scientifically, because they did these tests, and it's very interesting. Like if somebody is looking to buy a car and they just buy, let's say, a Lexus, okay, then all of a sudden when they're shopping for it or when they just buy it, they notice all the other Lexuses on the road and like, oh wow, they're so common. I never noticed that before, because it's something that's in their mind, and so they're seeing it all over. And we're more prone to see things that we're thinking about, that are in our head in the first place, and to block out everything else. So my concern is that we're so used to now seeing things that are difficult and focusing on that. And if we focus on that, that's all we'll see, that's all we'll talk about, and we'll end up getting more of that and building these self-fulfilling prophecies. So what we can't do is fall into that trap. What we need to do is, because although we suffered such horrendous loss and difficult things that we've been through, we have to also focus on all the good. And there's been a lot of good. God has been with us overall. If you think our country could have very easily been wiped off the map, it could have happened. Things could have gone very differently, and we still have a country. And everything that happened is difficult and traumatic, but let's not have those lives have died in vain. Let's take their memories and let's build with that. Let's have a vision of the future. I think we're at the end of our story, and I think good things can really happen. And I have so much hope and so much faith because I've seen our people, and the fact that we can be going through this and the Israelis can still celebrate the life and the good things, the marriages, and sing in the security rooms and whatever, find any moment we can to grab onto and to live in those moments also, I think is very cathartic and very healing as well. And so what we should do now, it's the month of Tammuz, and in the month of Tammuz we have in the past failed. We've predicted doom and gloom, and we've suffered doom and gloom. Like in the Bible with the spies, we said we can't go up. We were so scared because you have to remember, we're surrounded by the enemies, and they were saying they were giants and all these things that were legit concerns. But God said they can do it, and they could have done it, and they should have had more faith and not panicked and not focused on the negative. So what I'm asking, what I'm begging, is that we can take this month and turn it around. It's an opportune moment. This is a moment that is so ripe for change. There's going to be a day, the sages tell us, when this Tamuz of tears will turn into something else, a new song, a redemption. It's not going to be this way always, but it's dependent on us and on how we want to view and therefore live out our lives. So I think it's very important. I think she writes about to acknowledge how we feel and to deal with it and to mourn the losses, but in a positive way, to mourn the losses without the anger, and to sort out the confusion, and to be grateful for all the things that we have when we get them, and not just not see those because we're blinded and all of our vision is taken up by the negativity. So that's my request. I am begging that we all do that, because there is so much good. So yes, process what we need to process and grieve what we need to grieve, but stay hopeful. There's so much to be hopeful. There's so much promise. There's so much good that has happened and that will continue to happen if we stay positive and hopeful and proactive in making that happen. Chodesh Tov. Shabbat Shalom.